The Middle East, often in the headlines for conflict, has a history as a crossroads of civilizations. For centuries, the Ottoman Empire loosely held this diverse region together, allowing various communities some autonomy. By the early 1900s, the empire was crumbling, weakened by internal strife and nationalist movements. World War I sealed its fate. The Ottomans sided with Germany and Austria-Hungary, and as they lost, the Allies eyed their lands for themselves. Britain, seeking local support, promised Arab leaders independence if they revolted against Ottoman rule. Many Arabs fought, inspired by dreams of self-rule. But while British officers like Lawrence of Arabia made promises on the battlefield, British and French diplomats secretly planned to divide the region for their own gain. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire became a power grab, not a chance for local self-determination. This set the stage for a century of conflict and resentment that still shapes the Middle East today. In 1916, Britain and France secretly agreed to carve up the Middle East, the Sykes-Picot Agreement. With a grease pencil, they drew borders on a map, ignoring the region's complex mix of peoples and histories. These arbitrary lines split communities, lumped rivals together, and prioritized imperial interests, especially oil. When the agreement was exposed in 1917, Arab allies felt deeply betrayed. The promise of independence was a lie. Their lands were being divided as spoils of war. The new borders created states with little shared identity, planting seeds for future conflict. Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Palestine all emerged from this imperial map-making, not from local will. The British made conflicting promises to Arabs, Jews, and the French all over the same land. To Arab leaders, they promised independence. To the Zionist movement, they pledged support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine, the Balfour Declaration. Yet Palestine was already home to a large Arab population. By 1917, Britain had promised the same territory to 3 different groups. When the war ended, all parties expected their promises to be honored, an impossible task. The result shattered Arab hopes, Jewish-Arab tensions, and a diplomatic mess that fueled decades of conflict. The British web of double-dealing left a legacy of mistrust and violence. The stage was set for a century of struggle over land and identity. After World War I, Britain and France disguised colonialism as mandates, claiming to guide new states toward independence. In reality, they formalized the Sykes-Picot lines and installed loyal monarchs to serve their interests. Iraq was stitched together from 3 Ottoman provinces, uniting Shia, Sunni, and Kurds under a Sunni king, fueling deep divisions. In Lebanon, the French empowered Maronite Christians, institutionalizing sectarianism and sowing seeds for future civil war. Borders were drawn for oil and control, not for local realities. The mandate system deepened divisions, favoring some groups over others and practicing divide and rule. Local voices were ignored. The new states were fragile and artificial. When independence came, these nations were unstable, divided, and prone to conflict. The colonial experiment left behind weak institutions and simmering tensions. The consequences would haunt the region for generations. After World War II, Middle Eastern states gained independence, but inherited borders and divisions they never chose. National identity was weak. People often felt more loyalty to tribe or sect than to the new state. Authoritarian rulers like Saddam Hussein and Hafez al-Assad held these fractured countries together by force. Beneath the surface, ethnic and sectarian tensions simmered, waiting for a chance to erupt. The most explosive conflict, the creation of Israel in 1948, fulfilling a Jewish dream, but displacing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. The Arab-Israeli conflict, rooted in colonial-era decisions, has dominated the region for decades. Other disputes, like the Kurdish struggle for statehood and border wars, also trace back to these artificial lines. The legacy fragile states, unresolved conflicts, and a region shaped by imposed borders. The instability built into the region's borders has fueled new forms of conflict. Weak states gave rise to powerful non-state actors like Hezbollah, Hamas, and most dramatically, ISIS. ISIS even bulldozed the Iraq-Syria border, symbolically erasing Sykes-Picot's legacy, the human cost: millions dead, tens of millions displaced, and generations growing up amid violence. The secret deals of a century ago still echo in today's wars and refugee crises. Understanding this history isn't about blame. It's about recognizing how imperial arrogance shaped the present. The lines drawn by Sykes and Picot created a fragile political order. A peaceful future depends on the region's people, but it starts with facing the past.